Hi guys, I think we're live now. I'm just going to share the link. Apologies for all the problems we have been having. I will tell you a little bit more about them. The restream went down because Facebook basically denied me access. And as well as this, you know, the internet was problematic and everything else, but we're gonna carry on. We're gonna soldier on. We're not gonna be beaten by this. We're not gonna be beaten by these fascists at Facebook that think that it's okay to do this to us. Because there's going to be trouble now, mark my words. So I'm just sharing the show to say that we are live. Come and join us. I'm hoping we're still going to be able to have the guests that we were going to have. It's worrying, to say the least, that they're trying to stop free speech on Facebook. And the reason that they did this to me is because I shared a cartoon of Hitler saying, if you're reporting your neighbors to the authorities, you're doing the Reich thing, as in the Third Reich thing. And they said they banned me because I'd shared a swastika. There was no swastika in the picture. So you're on notice, Facebook. I am going to sue you in the courts for restricting my First Amendment rights. And you will be hearing from me. So let's see if we can carry on and fill up the stream. But I'm sure most of you have gone now. Here we go. Let's try this. Okay, guys, we are live, and this is the Xander Gibb show, and I am sorry that we have had these problems tonight, but I blame Restream, and I also blame Facebook. You know, Restream should let you know if things have changed. Let me see if I can get my first guest, Kelly Wilde, to call in, and I'll get Debra to call a bit later. Okay. Here we go. Let's see if we can get Kelly to calling. Now, Kelly is a friend of mine from London who is a singer and a performer. And I'm hoping she's going to call us any minute. We'll do this show a little bit backwards. We'll have some calls for the phone in later, and we'll also have soapbox time if we have that as well. So I'm just waiting for Kelly to join us, just hoping that we don't lose this live feed because, of course, Facebook are fascists and they're out to stop you from having your say. So if we do happen to lose the feed, then I guess we will just have to come back with a new strategy for next week. But I'm pissed, to say the least. Just gonna get my guest to call in. As I said, my first guest is Kelly Wilde. She's a singer and she's also the proprietor of Dance Crazy Management. She's a regular on the hit TV show All Together Now and joins us live from London. She should be calling us any second. Just a little bit of time to tell you, don't forget we're going 5 days a week from June. Hopefully we won't have any of these problems. I'm hoping for as much as possible to broadcast from different places so that we're not as reliant on these other stations. So please join me in welcoming Back to the show, the one, the only, the fabulous Kelly Wilde. How is the world with you, Kelly? Hello? Well, I thought that was our first guest calling us. Maybe it was a heavy breather, just what I need tonight, as well as everything else that has been going on. We're just waiting for Kelly Wilde to call in to chat with us live from London. Hi to chat. We've had lots of problems tonight here. We've had the restream went down. Facebook are not letting me broadcast through my regular channel. Because they're a bunch of Nazis, and obviously Mark Zuckerberg is pissed that the only way you can get a woman is through mail order bride. So we're just waiting for Kelly to call in, so we don't have to abort the whole show. I'm sure people are looking for where we are, but I just shared it on the Xander Gibb page, so people can come and join us. You know, it says something interesting about the fact that when they're trying to stop you from broadcasting and saying what you're saying, they must be really afraid of what you have to say. So my message to you, Mark Zuckerberg, is that I'm going to push for all of your all of the benefits that you get from the government in the United States. I'm going to push for them all to be stopped, because you're not paying your taxes, you're not paying what you should be paying, and you're saying that you are a media source when you're not. What you are is a Nazi organization. So I'm just waiting for Kelly to call us so we can have a chat with her. Hope that wasn't her heavy breathing, because heavy breathers are a bit of a worry for me. Yeah, it was Facebook messing around again. So in part two, we've got another couple of guests on tonight. We have in part two, we have Debra Hamilton, who is a pet mediator, and she's going to talk to us about, I was going to say, love in the time of COVID. She's going to talk to us about pet care in the time of COVID. I'm just going to tell you about my other guest as well, Kris Saucier, Navy vet. He's going to be calling in right after Debra has spoken to us. Oh yes, sorry. So we're just waiting for Kelly to call us now. Our friend, the singer Kelly, from London. Let's go to the chat room and see who is there. Yeah, it is extremely disturbing how conservatives are treated, chat, because the point is, you know, I'm not saying anything that's untrue. I'm not saying anything untoward. And if they keep banning me like this, I'm going to take legal action against them in the courts, because my freedom of speech should not end at the keyboard with a site that's supposed to be a media site. You know, my right should extend to commentary on a media site, and if it doesn't, you know, there's a problem. I'm hoping this is my good friend Kelly Wilde. Hi Kelly, welcome back to the show. How is the world with you? Hello? I see. Well, I don't think we're going to be getting Kelly tonight, but we will rebook her, and we will endeavor to get her back on again. I am a little bit disheveled, folks, because I am rather pissed that they're doing these things. And, you know, Chit just pointed out in the chat room that they're having their own Supreme Court right now. And that's true. They've actually elected, I think it's 20 people to oversee the comments that people make on Facebook. So they're going to be turning it into even more of a Nazi state, which is a real concern to me, because they're already fact-checking jokes. I mean, where do you get off as a so-called media site fact-checking jokes? Because to me, you know, it's a given that people are going to joke about stuff. So ultimately, we need to stand up now and fight this, because if we don't, this is the kind of thing that's happened. You know, not only has it messed with my show, but it's really, you know, pissed me off. I'll be totally blunt. And the thing is, at the end of the day, while socialist organizations like Facebook are getting away with this by trampling all over our free speech and trampling all over our commentary, and claiming that they're a media organization when they're actually not, and they're claiming all the benefits that come from that. Why, as Americans, are we not standing up to Facebook for the way that they are behaving? I think it's time that we actually stood up to them. Okay, so I don't think it's happening with our first guest for today now, but we do have two more, and we, as I said, we will get Kelly back some other times. Yeah, fact-checking memes, chat, it is a bit of a worry, and I think that ultimately it's going to be Facebook's downfall, because the thing is that you can't tell me that these people that they've assigned are non-political, they're non-partisan. You know, one of the people that they actually... let's see if this is Kelly calling in. Hi, is this Kelly? So Skype is giving us hassle as well now. We're getting it from all angles. Don't forget, guys, these are all things that we pay for the show. So I will be expecting money back from Skype and from Restream. And Facebook then have the audacity to want me to buy advertising space from them. And so why would I be buying advertising space from them when they're treating me in this way? Seriously, the first thing I'm going to do on Monday is, you know, I'm going to levy my local politician in the United States, and I'm going to sue Facebook. I am so tired of this, you know, banning me for ridiculous things because they want to silence my voice. Well, you won't silence my voice. I have several other accounts. I will continue to open other accounts, and I will continue to speak out against you, Mark Zuckerberg, because you are a Nazi, and you are... I don't know what is going on with this. Skype won't stay on today either, so I don't know how I'm going to... do you know what I'm going to actually do? I'm going to try and bring... no, I'm not going to be able to do that now because of time. So thank you to Skype. Thank you to Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. And thank you to... Hi, Dave. Thank you also to Restream, who allowed Facebook to close my connection without even telling me that it had been closed. So thank you to all of them tonight for interfering with my show, but you won't stop me. I will just carry on for longer, and I will just use other avenues. We are also looking at broadcasting the show live from my website. That's another thing that we're going to do. And also you will be able to listen to me on the radio again from From June 1st, it's going out on iHeart and iTunes and stuff like that. So you will be able to find it there too. Because Facebook is just a little blip. And I think it's... I'm sorry about that, Chet. As I had to go onto the other account, I did share it on the main page. Let me just share it in the Xander Gibb Show page as well. These are obviously all things that are beyond my control, and not only do they shake my core with regards to kind of broadcasting and stuff. I'm also, very angry now from the perspective of, they've messed up my show. So I'm sharing this in the Xander Gibb Show proper, so people can come and join. People can come and join the show. And I'm also going to share this from the Xander Gibb page to a couple of other pages too. It's I can see even now they're actually interfering with this broadcast. This broadcast is pixelating and things like that. But as long as you all can still see it, we will endeavor to continue with the show. I think that now is the time that we all stand together. And those of you that don't want to stand with us, don't complain to me when your page gets messed with, or when they take your page away, because I have zero sympathy for you, and you actually deserve it if you can't kind of stand with us when this happens. So, I give up, really. But in giving up, I'm standing up. And I really want you to do the same. I think it is... Let's see if this is Kelly. Hello? Aha, we got through. Welcome to the show, God. Kelly. How is the world with you?
There's an echo. Go ahead.
Have you got it on speakerphone?
I just took it off speaker. It's better now.
Yeah, it usually you usually get an echo with speaker when you put it on speaker. So I'm sorry about this. We've had nothing but technical problems tonight. As I'm sure you can appreciate, as someone who does live shows, when it goes wrong, it all goes wrong, and it all goes wrong cataclysmically.
I've got you now.
Absolutely.
Give up the will to live. I thought, oh my God.
Yes, for sure. So welcome back to the show. How is the world with you? I want to know what you're doing under the lockdown. As a singer, are you rehearsing more? Are you eating lots of cream cakes, or are you being really good and being fit and exercising and stuff?
Oh, well, I'm doing a bit of everything of that. But mostly the only exercise I was doing yoga. I'm yoga, Zumba, and Pilates out. I have done it. I'm exhausted with it. It's boring me now.
Right.
I thought I'll hit the garden. My garden is pristine.
Wow.
Pristine. I have even vacuumed and sucked up the dirt off the cobblestones out the back. I've had nothing better to do.
So my next question then is, when would you like to come and do mine?
Oh, any day, any day. When
right.
we get out of the lockdown.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm enjoying the lockdown. I'm enjoying it.
Are you? Are you missing kind of brunching and, going for lunch and going for cocktails and things like that? Because that's the thing that's got me the most. Because, I know a lot of people are having these Zoom cocktail parties, but it's not the same,
No, I've done nothing of that, except I've got my friends phoned me from Singapore, and we hit the bottle of wine, and that's what I remember, or the only thing I remember.
Yeah.
Well, I'm constantly on the phone, constantly speaking to people all over the country, in fact, in different parts of the world. And I love that, because I've got time. I never
Right.
had time to call friends as regularly as I did and do FaceTime or anything, or even WhatsApp or Zoom groups or house party. Did a house party today. I never ever had time for that. It's just that I've made time for everybody. Everyone that's been in and out of my life is very important now.
Right. And you got back just in time for the lockdown, didn't you, from Australia? You'd been out of the country and were lucky enough to get just back in before they locked it down.
Oh, totally. I was doing the Sydney Mardi Gras. It was the beginning of March. And then I carried on travelling around Australia a little bit after doing some gigs and stuff. And then I went to Singapore.
Right.
And my friend said, "You've got to leave Singapore. You may not get back to England." I said, no. I know the English. I said, they will cogitate before they actually do something.
Right.
I said, so I've still got a few days. I'm not too worried about it. And I got back on the 20th. The 21st, I had a concert, but that had to be cancelled.
Right.
Because there was too many people meeting together. And on the 23rd, England went into lockdown.
Yeah.
So I was back just in the nick of time, and I've just been at home and mincing about here, talking to people. As I said, doing the gardening, having a lot of drinks, got to lose weight.
Yeah, I hear that.
And radio interviews with my friends like you, which is fabulous.
Absolutely. So I kind of found to begin with that I was drinking a little bit more than I should, because it kind of feels like a long holiday, you know, although I wanted to get back to normal. Everyone I speak to is saying, you know, I'm drinking so much alcohol right now.
You know, we'll go into lockdown and everyone will get healthy, but we'll all be alcoholics.
Yes, exactly. But I seem to be the only one in my group that's continued, because I've been on this keto diet for some time now, and I've lost like 140 pounds on it. And I'm the only one that's continued. Done. Thank you. Losing weight during the lockdown. But everybody else is saying, I've put on 20 pounds. I've put on this amount. I've put on that amount. So I just kind of say very little, because the last thing you want to hear is that someone's losing weight when you're putting it on.
Look at losing weight while you're stuffing your face.
Yeah.
It's the last thing you want to hear.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what, though, I started on cutting back now, because everyone's talking about coming out at gradual stages of lockdown.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to our business, show business and everything else, festivals, the gay prides, which I adore. I mean, I have so much fun. And, you know, the festivals, the theatres I've been starting to do for the revival shows and everything. I think that's going to be a lot longer than we actually anticipate.
Right.
I can't see them having like 50 to 60,000 people, or 4,000 or 5,000, or however many is going to be at a festival, all coming together until they're really positive. So that's going to be a while, but I thought, well, I better start getting myself into gear again. Otherwise, it'll come upon me suddenly, and I'll waddle onto a stage.
Yeah.
So I might as well get cracking and get myself back together. But I've had a good month of just having anything I wanted to eat, a tub of ice cream if I wanted it. And now it's all coming off. It's all changing. You know, I'm just getting my head around. We will be back doing shows. We will be back meeting people. And I may not shake hands, but well, I never really did shake hands. Actually, it was always a hug.
Yeah.
So I might not even be hugging so much when we get back into the festivals. I think you've got to pull back just a little bit till it gets really, really clear and things start to look a little bit better.
Absolutely.
So how about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've been my show goes to 5 days a week from June, so I've really been concentrating on that. And I'm planning a second album this year. I haven't done one for 10 years, so I've been really just throwing myself into things, because I think that way I'm not going to think, oh my God, what the hell is going on? And my show is great.
Is it original songs?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I've written them all myself, and my first album was original songs too. Because
you have to send it to me.
I definitely will. I think a lot of people, because for live, I don't know about you, but I find you have to do a mixture, because they're like, I've never heard that, can't sing along. So you have to do a mixture. But for my albums and stuff, I always want to do, original stuff wherever possible.
Yes, I mean, I've written an original song, which I'm having orchestrated now. It's going to be like on a Sting vibe, like as in Sting, that kind of orchestrated vibe.
Right.
And it is about our world today. I know there's been a lot of songs written about it, but at the moment, I wrote this and thought, no, it's deeper than that. It's a really strong song, and I want I've planned out how it's going to be, and I've asked some people's kids and stuff like that to become part of the song. So I think that's going to be something different for me to do, and I just want to do it because I am in lockdown, and I can do something different other than my records.
Absolutely. But I suppose this affects the second string to your bow, your agency, because I guess all of your artists are on lockdown and on hold too, so none of them are going and performing anywhere either.
No, they're not. And, we talk quite a lot. I was speaking to Rizal. You had Rizala on last week. I was speaking to Rizala the other day, and I said, we're doing a thing. Actually, I've asked a lot of my artists to get involved because I've been asked to do virtual Pride, which is going on the 23rd of May. It's virtual Pride. So, and I've asked a lot of my artists to do a video, either sing or do a video or do something, say, how they came to enjoy the gay scene, how they missed it, how they can't wait to get back to it, and, they're wishing virtual Pride a great day, because everyone can enjoy seeing the stars that they love. So Rizala did that for me, and I had Kim Mazel just did one, and a few other artists have done little videos for me to send over to the people who are putting all the show together. And they asked for one for me, so I did a really camp little number and everything. So it was fun.
Did you sing Gloria, though? That's what I want to know.
You want to, sorry?
Did you sing Gloria, though? That's what I want to know.
They might play Gloria. I won't have sung it on that particular one. I've been asked to do a show tomorrow at 5:30. And let me see what it's called. I did write it down. Isolation Entertainment Blowout. It's on Facebook. Isolation Entertainment Blowout. It's on Facebook. And I'm nervous as hell because I've been trying really hard to put a few songs together, but I don't have a sound system at home. So I'll actually be singing it just raw. And even Gloria will be just raw. I'll play a backing vocal. I'll play a backing track. But I don't really know how that's going to work with the show or anything. I'm just going to give it a shot and have a bit of fun.
Absolutely.
I've never done it before. I feel like the vestal virgin trying something new.
Absolutely.
For me, but anyway.
Well, I want to
try. Should be.
Go ahead.
It's different.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's different.
I want to jump into some quick fire questions because we are time bound. We started doing this again recently just to add a little bit of, because we get to know a lot about artists, but we don't get to know like the nitty gritty. So we're going to jump in some quick fire questions. You can refuse to answer. You can say absolutely not. It's totally up to you. Okay. So first question, what question do you most hate to be asked?
My age.
I'm
ageless. I'm timeless.
Next question was to be how old are you? But if you're ageless and timeless, that answers that question. Who is your idol?
I love Bette Midler.
Absolutely. She's a wonderful singer. Don't like her politics, but I love her music. Favorite TV show of all time?
Oh, tricky. Charmed, probably. Well, Charmed's one of them, Touched by an Angel. I like Murder, She Wrote, the old series. There's quite a few, but they're all very diverse.
Nothing Australian, then?
No.
Wow. No Sons and Daughters or Prisoner Cell Block H.
From Australia. I don't know any TV shows from Australia.
You've never watched Prisoner Cell Block H?
Oh, yeah, but that's nah.
Yeah, back in the day.
I did. It was brilliant in its day.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we've had a lot of the actors from Prisoner Cell Block H on the show. I'm a Blockie. I really do love the show. What is your greatest fear?
I don't have one.
Wow, never had anyone say that before.
I like challenges. I like challenges. I like to try and take things on. I'll always tackle something head on.
Absolutely. Do you believe in?
It used to be heights, but I went zip lining. It's not heights anymore.
Wow. Wow, you're very brave. All right, next question. Do you believe in aliens of the extraterrestrial kind?
Do I what?
Do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
Right. Cool. Worst movie you ever saw?
Oh, off the top of my head, the worst movie. Oh, something recent, actually. Oh, I can't remember the name of it.
All right, well, we'll let you say pass on that one.
Pass. Okay.
EastEnders or Coronation Street?
Oh, I don't watch either.
You don't watch either. Wow, we have someone that doesn't watch the soaps, folks. Rice or pasta?
Pasta.
Right. You find...
Yummy. I'm getting hungry now.
Yeah, I'm starving. You find 50 pounds in church. Do you A, keep it, B, give it to the minister, or do you give it to the homeless guy outside?
Oh, that's tough. Can I split it in half and give 50-50?
Right. Okay, you can...
Split it three-way because I might be starving.
Yeah,
But, no,
absolutely.
I don't know. If it's found in church, I'd probably give it to the pastor in case somebody was in need of their money.
Absolutely.
And came to the pastor and said, I lost 50 pounds in the church.
Yeah. Let me remind you, it's quick fire. So let's...
Oh, sorry.
No,
Okay,
don't worry.
quick fire.
Which three celebs, living or dead, would you invite to dinner and what would you serve?
Living or dead, rather. Elvis Presley.
Right. And who else?
Oh, that's dead, isn't it? Living?
Living or dead?
Living. Living or dead. Quick fire, quick.
All right, gotta push you. And what would you feed them?
Pasta.
The pasta from the previous question. Yeah, just see you on the dining table. All right, Madonna and Lady Gaga are drowning. Whose head do you take your foot off first?
I didn't get that. Madonna or?
Madonna and Lady Gaga are drowning. Whose head do you take your foot off first?
Lady Gaga.
Absolutely. That was our quick fire questions, and we are out of time. Apologies for all of the technical problems tonight. I hope you will come and join us again very soon. But for now, tell people where they can find you.
What, Kelly, Facebook? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you can. Well, all of Kelly's contact information is on the Xander Gibb show page for today, so you can contact her there. But for now, Kelly Wilde, thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend and stay safe during the lockdown.
Oh, you too, darling. Lots of love.
Lots of love. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
My next guest is just calling in. So I'm just trying to... It's not letting me pick up for some reason. It's great that all the technical problems... Here we go. Not letting me answer. It's let me answer. So this should be my next guest, who is a pet mediator with Hamilton Law Mediation and the host of Why Do Pets Matter, available from iTunes and the home of all good podcasts. Welcome back to the show, my good friend, Debra Hamilton. How is the world with you, Debra? Hello? Wonderful. I'm hoping Debra will call back. We'll have to call today's show. Here we go. It's coming in again. Let's answer. I think I have to close this. Hello? Hello, Debra?
Hey, Xander.
Hi, I am wonderful, thank you. Sorry about the problems and the time changes and stuff. We've had such technical issues tonight. I think that there's a conspiracy against me somewhere, but we won't let it get us down. We will jump right in. How is the lockdown treating you?
Well, you know what? It's been
been really interesting. I've created a few programs and developed a community around how to care for your pets if, in fact, COVID hits you for a long-term or short-term period.
Right.
So it has created an opportunity for me to help people care for their pets.
Right. Well, that's a great point to jump in, because that's one of the things I was going to ask you about. Because a lot of people are limited as to when they can go out, and your dog doesn't know that there's a lockdown, or your pet doesn't know there's a lockdown. What kind of things are you recommending for pet owners in these times?
Well, Xander, actually they do know there's a lockdown because you're home with them and they aren't sleeping as much as they used to sleep. And some of the older ones are saying, "When are you leaving?"
Yeah.
The younger ones are like, "Ahoo." There was a cartoon that showed cats being very angry that their people are home all the time, and dogs, having a leash in their mouth all the time. So that was an incredibly cute cartoon. But actually, it's been a lifesaver for most people, and actually a lifesaver for a number of animals, because here in the United States, there have been so many animals adopted from shelters that have gotten a new lease on life.
Wonderful. Yeah. So do you know, I'm sure you're in touch with some shelters. How are the shelters coping during this time? Are they still getting plenty of donations and still able to feed the animals and stuff?
Well, most of the shelters were empty because people came to get the dogs while they were sheltering in place. And I think the donations were likely down until last Tuesday, which was a big donation day here in the United States. So a lot of people made nice donations to shelters. What's happening now is a little bit of worry that when things open up, the dogs that were adopted, who've had their owners home from the day they were adopted,
right,
may go through some separation anxiety when these people go back to work, and there's fear they'll be dropped off at the shelter again, which is unfortunate. But if the shelters can figure out a way, which they might be able to either create a daycare or help the people work through the anxiety that the dogs or cats might feel with them being away, that would be a blessing.
Right. Absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about the work that you do for anyone that's not heard you on the show before. Now, one of the main elements of your work is as a pet mediator. How would you describe what you do?
So when I am helping people resolve conflicts that involve their pets, either in divorce, unfortunately, your pet doesn't hate your ex, so working something out where the pet could see the ex would be wonderful for the pet,
right,
and also for you, because you wouldn't have to put it in a kennel if you had to go away. And then if there are disagreements between neighbors over barking dogs, whether you own the barking dog or you live next to the barking dog, veterinarian issues, groomer issues, anyone in the pet service that disappoints you with their care of your pet, I take all of those to mediation instead of litigation, because everyone takes responsibility, learns from the experience, and things like this never happen again,
right,
because people are really made to understand how impactful it was. So that's why I mediate and I don't litigate. It's not about the money, it's about the safety of the pet.
Right. And do you find that when you actually get two people sitting down at a table, they're a lot more aware of the issue for the pet than their own kind of, issues of not wanting to be with the other person anymore?
Well, it's interesting because a number of times I couldn't get people to sit down at the table, but I could get them on Zoom. So I have been working remotely. This has been easy for me.
Right.
I've been working remotely for at least the last 8 years. And people who are divorcing or relationships that end have a better chance of working something out remotely, where they don't have to sit in the same room with the person who they dislike, and they can focus on the animal as opposed to focusing on being in the same room with that person and all that emotion that occurs when you do that. So the remote piece that has come to the fore now, poor Zoom went from 1 million users to 100 million users overnight, has been a blessing for me for the past 8 years. And and is still a blessing and is going to, I believe, become the wave of the future on resolving conflicts, because people, whether you litigate or you mediate, are going to do a lot of this remotely.
Right. And do you find that when, because I know a lot of people would say, I'm not coming to a meeting, the kind of digital technology is making lots of things possible nowadays that just weren't possible before.
Absolutely. A lot of my clients don't even live in the same area, especially if they co-own dogs, or if someone moved out of a relationship, moved across country. How do you get to have that conversation unless you do it remotely? And quite frankly, when I started it years ago, my thought was they're just going to hang up. So Xander doesn't like me anymore, and he's just going to hang up when I say something that pisses them off.
Right.
But it turns out that when you're on a remote feature like Zoom, or go to webinar, or Skype, you don't want to be the person who leaves. You want to be the person who rises above and stays. So I have had not one time where someone hung up and left because someone said something that pissed them off. They actually stay and work it out. And of course, the mediator is there to say, now, Xander, tell me a little bit more about how you think saying that to so-and-so will help us resolve this conflict. There's somebody there always holding a safe space for everyone, so nobody leaves.
Wonderful. That's great. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your podcast, Why Do Pets Matter? I was a guest with you recently on the show. The episode I was on went out this week, and I've shared the links to that on my page and stuff. Tell us a little bit about how that started and what kind of a response you're getting from people.
Well, it's interesting. I started way before COVID, and it has taken off before COVID and really taken off after COVID, because now we really understand why do pets matter to us. So I speak to leaders in the industry, people who have a wonderful opinion about animals, who are just like me, a pet owner.
Right.
I love to talk to pet owners, and that's why you were on, because it's really about whether or not you own a pet, how have pets impacted you.
Yes.
And we have veterinarians on, we have attorneys on, we have behaviorists on, and they start to talk about their pets that they've had. Why do pets matter? Why did they matter to you? They usually start with the first pet they've ever had. I think you did. And then they go on to say what they're doing in the industry now to make their life, pets' lives in general, better. So that's why we call it Why Do Pets Matter? It really wants to help people learn so much information and differing points of view. So it's not just one point of view, which is what, of course, goes hand in hand with my mediation, which helps people listen for understanding as opposed to having just one way to do something. If they hear it in a less confrontational way, they may actually take advantage of that suggestion.
Exactly. And do you find that people are finding out about your mediation through your podcast, or your podcast through your mediation, or is there kind of a trickle from both sides?
It's really interesting. Most of my mediations now are coming from Why Do Pets Matter, because people have listened to it. I guess I've been told by the people who are calling that they really felt comfortable explaining their problem to me. And the other parties who they've encouraged to come to mediation listen to the podcast and go, well, she seems like a reasonable person. So everybody comes and thinks I'm a reasonable person, which is great, because I truly am.
You are.
It really makes for it really makes for a better outcome for the pet, which is what everybody really wants to do, until they speak to a litigator who wants to ramp them up for other reasons that have nothing to do with the pet.
Absolutely. And it's nothing to do with the fact that you sound like Gloria Estefan and have such a soothing voice, is it?
Oh, well, that's great. I love Gloria Estefan. I wish I could sing like her.
You definitely do. You listen, like the first time I had you on the show, which was I think it was a couple of years ago, with Susan, and I remember saying to Susan after, I was like, she sounds so much like Gloria Estefan.
Well, we New Yorkers have to stick together. So
yes.
That accent comes through, absolutely.
Absolutely. So tell people where they can find your podcast. I know it's on
iTunes.
iTunes
It's on
and
iTunes.
yeah.
All they have to do is plug in "Why Do Pets Matter" in the search bar of Google or Chrome or Safari. Just plug it in, and you're good to go. And also, if they want, I know a lot of people are really worried about what would happen to their pets if they came down with COVID. We're expecting this to stick around for a little while. I don't know about so much in the UK, but I know in the United States, we're not necessarily flattening the curve, except in New York, where Governor Cuomo is on top of making sure we're staying safe. I have not a radio, sorry. It's a, what would you call it? It's sort of like a community meeting on Zoom every Tuesday at noontime, Eastern Daylight Time, where we talk about why do pets matter, and we talk about how to make a plan for your pet, because the other passion I have is helping people make plans for their pets in the event something happens to them. And before COVID, I only spoke about, you just have to have somebody nearby who can come and get your pet. Well, like you, we know that person has to live almost next door.
Yes.
Because someone might not be able to come and help you.
Yeah. I mean, they've actually said that animals can't get COVID, but if they can get the flu, how do we know they can't get COVID? I don't think that enough is known.
Few animals, cats are more susceptible than dogs. There's been one pug who tested positive, so it's rare. They can have the fomites on their fur, so you should always wash your hands if you pet your own dog, or
right.
if you have COVID, the fomites will be on the dog's fur, so you should wash your hands. But it really is imperative that you make a plan, and one of the people who can come and care for your pet lives next door, because here in New York, we had a cat that the next door neighbor was taking care of, but nobody else was in the loop to take care of the pet, and they couldn't take care of it any longer, and the shelter came, took the cat. The cat went ballistic. He didn't understand what was going on, and his owner passed away. So now he's up for adoption at a shelter, and who knows if anybody's going to come and get him.
Wow. Yeah, it's terrible. I hear so many stories of older people dying and then what happens to their cat or their dog or their pet. And I think that it's a good thing to have a plan, because I hear so many people say, my dog is part of the family. So if your dog was like a child, you would want to make sure that your child was taken care of, should you pass away. And I'm sure that there are lawyers that are happy to help you to write those things into your will. Am I right?
Well, trust and estate lawyers will help you write it into your will. They're not that savvy about helping you make a plan if you're not dead yet.
Right.
So if you have COVID and you're in the hospital for 3 weeks, you're going to need a plan to care for your pets, and you're not dead yet.
Right.
So you really need to come to the Tuesday call, learn all about the programs that I put on. I don't sell them on the call. I just talk to everybody about how to make these plans. If you'd like help, I work throughout the world helping people make their MAP plan, navigating the journey your pet takes when you can't care for it, which stands for making a plan and addressing all the needs of your pet and appointing caregivers and then publishing it, which is the most important piece. Because, Xander, you and I both know, if I write something down and nobody knows where it is, how likely is that plan to ever be? Yep.
Exactly. Absolutely. Well, we are coming to the end of our time together. I'm sure some people will want to not only check out your shows, but come and listen to the webinar. How can they do that? What's the best way for them to find out where you're at?
Well, they can go to my website, which is HamiltonLawAndAndMediation.com. That's HamiltonLawAndAndMediation.com. Or they can go to Why Do Pets Matter podcast. Just put that in the bar. It'll pop right up. Or if all else fails, they can put bit.ly, bit.ly, MAAP, May, MAY, 14th, which is Tuesday. I think it's the 14th or it's the 15th. And then they can join us. But if they just put MAAP, Hamilton Law and Mediation, they'll go right to my website and find the information about how to make a plan, or at least be part of the conversation and community. It's amazing, Xander, how many people have joined the community and are doing the little things I tell them to do, so that if, God forbid, something happens to them, the police, EMT, everyone knows the next step to take to care for their pet.
Absolutely. So go and check out Debra's stuff. All of her contact information is on the Xander Gibb show page for today. Go and check her out on iTunes. That's under Why Do Pets Matter? And I'm sure Debra will be back with us again very soon. But for now, thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. My good friend, Debra Hamilton.
You too. Thank you, Xander.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was Debra Hamilton, pet mediator. Make sure you check her out and see what is going on with the webinar, which is once a week, and also her podcast, Why Do Pets Matter? Because I think there are people out there who are pet owners that like to see something a little bit different. And here's something a little bit different from time to time. My next guest should be calling in very soon. Don't worry, we will be giving you the opportunity to call. And we also have a UK number now. But my next guest is Kris, Saucier, a Navy sailor who spent a year in jail for having 6 selfies on his cell phone. And was basically treated very badly, was dealt with by a liberal judge, Saucier, and had all of his benefits and everything taken away when other colleagues of his that did the same thing basically got a slap on the wrist and a demotion. And if that's what Kris had got, I would have really I would never have known of his existence, because I would have seen that as fair as they gave him the same as everybody else. But with the reaction today, with the action yesterday of the charges quite rightly being dropped against 4-star General Flynn, I'm going to ask Kris what he thinks about this. He's going to be calling us any second now. Once again, apologies for all of the technical issues today. I blame Restream and I blame Facebook, but I didn't want them to stop me from doing a show because I think that then they've won, and we cannot let them win, folks. After Kris has been on, I'm going to do a quick rant, a quick soapbox, just to tell you a couple of things that I'm not happy about, and then we'll be opening the calls up to you. As I said, we have, you can call us from the UK now, and I'll let you know that number when we get to that point. So we're just waiting for, here we go. There should be Kris Saucier calling us. Is that you, Kris?
Yes, hi, Xander.
Hi, brother. Welcome back to the show. How is the world with you, and how are you dealing with lockdown?
Oh, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm still working, so.
You're still working. Wow, you're the one. I knew someone was still allowed to work, but I wasn't quite sure who it was. So as you probably learned today or yesterday, that 4-star General Flynn finally had the charges dropped against him. Now I can guess your reaction, but I want to find out first of all how you feel about the charges being dropped and how this will maybe affect you and others.
Well, I'm ecstatic for him because General Flynn was always a big advocate for me, and he always, he was really fighting for me, when he was still in the administration to get pardoned and get my benefits back from the military. And, it's just a shame what's happened to him and his family, and I can really relate, they do, this is the tactics that they use. They threaten you and they threaten your family. And then, when it's all said and done, they finally got their bluff called and they dropped the charges. It's unfortunate because, it's great that he's not going to go to prison and he doesn't have to have that hanging over his head. But think about it. Here's a guy, they've destroyed his life. He won't be able to work another job doing what he's been doing. And, they've tarnished what's otherwise a stellar career and service in the military. And they kind of just wash their hands of it, walk away and say, okay, no harm, no foul. Well, I mean, the guy's been bankrupted by them.
Yeah.
You know, how do you justify stealing millions of dollars from somebody in legal fees? And what the sad part is because he's already pled guilty, he'll be in the same boat that I am, where, you know, everybody said, oh, you know, after everything that happened and you really got hosed, that you should go back and sue him. Well, you can't, because the first argument that they make, you know, is if General Flynn tried to sue him for, you know, his legal fees, they'd say, well, you pled guilty, so you accepted responsibility,
right?
Even though they dropped the charges. So this is what they do, and it's sickening, because, you know, how do they have this much power over to do whatever you want and use all of the resources of the federal government to come after a person? And you know, honestly, I honestly believe that the only reason that he pled guilty, because it's insane, the entire basis, and everybody that knows this, of what they went after him for, it was just insane. It wasn't a crime. You know, they even admitted he wasn't lying. So it was just a perjury trap. That was all they were trying to do to get him fired, and try to get somebody to turn on the president and, you know, say things and get him in trouble. Well, it didn't work. And, you know, now they've been called out for it, and they just walk away from it after destroying this honorable guy's life.
Right.
It's a shame. And the only reason he pled guilty was probably to protect his son.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they threatened his family and said, well, look what we can do to you. Imagine what we can do to your son. And he did the right thing. You know, he did what any father would do, and he protected his family.
Right. But isn't that partly why you pled guilty? Isn't that partly why you pled guilty? Because they'd already started to do things to your wife, and
Yeah.
you know, you know, I don't know how much you can talk about this or how much I'm allowed to say, but you know, some of the things that your wife told me about what they did and what they did at your property and how they made you feel is absolutely disgusting. When they can let Hillary Clinton stay at her Chappaqua mansion and even run for president, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I mean, they didn't raid Hillary Clinton's house with her kids, you know, in the house at gunpoint at 6 o'clock in the morning like
Right.
they did my house.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't drag her out in the street in handcuffs and then have all the news crews there like they did with Roger Stone. They did the same thing with me. They called all the news crews and made sure they were all there. So it was, you know, right all over the news, and then we end up, you know, getting kicked out of where we live, where we're renting, because, you know, our neighbors think that we're some sort of, you know, arch nemesis, you know, society criminals. This is what they do when you're a target of them. They just come at you full force. You know, when you're Hillary Clinton or any one of these other people, they just let you go.
Right.
They let you come in with, you know, they said Hillary Clinton came in with basically a modest-sized legal office when she did her interview. Well, I doubt Flynn. Well, we all know Flynn didn't have that. It was just him and them.
Right.
And me, it was the same thing. You know, they came at me guns blazing. So, you know, it's just a striking difference. And you can't say that Hillary Clinton compares on any level to General Flynn and you know, what he's done for this country and his service. So why does he deserve that kind of treatment and she deserves a different kind of treatment? What makes her, you know,
absolutely
so much more deserving?
Well, she's a Democrat. You know, I'm sorry to say, but but Democrats get treated differently. I want to kind of go a little bit deeper with this, though, because some are saying that this is going to have an impact on Roger Stone. But I wonder what difference you think it might make for him, because clearly all three of these cases, your case, General Flynn's case, and Roger Stone's case, were political. And I mentioned in the preamble to bringing you on that your colleagues that did the same thing, that had selfies on their cell phones, were all given a slap on the wrist and a demotion. And I also said, you know, I don't know if you heard, but I said I probably wouldn't even know your name if they'd done that to you, because I would have thought that was a fair, you know, response. And the only reason we did know about you is because the overwhelming overreaction to what you had done and what it eventually ended up costing you. So do you think that this is going to have some impact on Roger Stone and maybe even your own case now?
Well, with Roger Stone, you know, I certainly hope it does, because, you know, I don't think many people can say Roger Stone is, you know, a shining example of a good person, but he didn't deserve what happened to him. He didn't deserve to have CNN called over there so that they could videotape a, you know, an amphibious raid on his house, you know, of of a 70-year-old man. And it's just insane what they did to him.
Right.
And there's just no justification for it. He wasn't a drug lord. He might have been a provocateur, but that's just who he is, and everybody knew who he was. If you want to censure him or you want to do this, anything else like that and say, okay, you can't work as a lobbyist, or certainly don't use the full weight of the FBI and the DOJ against a man like that. We're all entitled to free speech, and Roger Stone, that's just what he does. But
absolutely.
To say that he gets treated like that, same thing as I said with General Flynn. You can't pick and choose who you want to crucify. You either hold everybody to the same standard, or you don't have a standard at all. And I should have never been prosecuted in the civilian court. I was in the military, and I've always said that. Yeah. I said if they wanted to prosecute me, they should have court-martialed me. I was active duty. They had a standard within the Navy's criminal justice system that better applied to what they charged, what I could have been charged with. They charged me with a crime that really didn't fit because they wanted to do it. They wanted to make an example. It was very political, just like you said.
But it pulled the attention away from what they were doing to Hillary Clinton, and I think that was a huge part of it as well. It was, hey, look at this guy in the Navy who's done this, which was like saying it was like the difference between saying, you stole a popsicle and she stole $1 million. That's kind of what it was.
Roger Stone, their argument is Roger Stone lied to Congress. Well, what about Comey? Comey lied to Congress and got caught. McCabe lied to Congress and got caught. Now he's a CNN commentator.
Yeah.
I mean, Hillary Clinton lied to Congress about Benghazi. How many people, we've got heads of the CIA and National Intelligence Agency that are commentators on CNN that lied to Congress and got caught. Why are none of them being prosecuted?
Absolutely.
Where is the equal, execution of justice?
There isn't, and I'll tell you why, Kris. It's because what happened under the Obama administration is that the FBI and the DOJ became politicized because the only consideration for anybody that works for either the FBI or the DOJ, even judges, should be the law, not your political leanings, not how you feel as a Republican or Democrat with regards to the crime that you allege that someone has committed, what the law says about what they've actually done. And if they'd actually done that in all of these three cases, again, I wouldn't be talking to you now because they would have thrown your case out of court and said, no, this should have gone to JAG, Yep,
absolutely, yeah. But there was nobody there at that, all the times when this was happening, and when you think, oh, this will never happen to me, and then it does, and you just keep waiting for that moment where, okay, it's just like the TV show where somebody's going to come out and say, wait, this is wrong, and it's going to stop, but it just keeps going because when they weaponize the Department of Justice against somebody, there's no stopping it.
No.
There's no righteous moment where your lawyer stands up in court and says, oh, this is wrong, and the judge all of a sudden has an epiphany, or the prosecutor has an epiphany and realizes it. I mean, look at all these opportunities that they had in the Flynn case to do that, and they chose not to. They hid all this information from Bill Priestap saying that it was just a perjury trap, and they were just trying to get him to get fired or find something on him to get him to lie so they could get him in a perjury trap. They hid all this. Why didn't they show this to his lawyers in the first place?
Exactly.
Exactly, because this is how they play. They don't play clean. They play dirty. These people that are operating at the levels of the FBI and DOJ, they're worse than most of the criminals that they prosecute. They took a page from the whatever criminal playbook, and they took it to the max with the full weight of the U.S. government behind them, and that's what they're doing. And until there's a huge, I honestly don't know if the FBI can recover. I don't think that they can recover from this because I'm sure that there's good people in the FBI, but
Agreed.
They've just become so far away from whatever, they're supposed to do as far as prosecuting criminals. Here they are going after guys like Roger Stone, and then they have the Pulse nightclub massacre. They had all that information that said, hey, look, this guy's going to do something bad.
And did nothing.
They got the
Not a thing.
shooter.
They did nothing. They did nothing to prevent that. But I have to interject there for a second, Kris, because I do agree with you, but I think it's the upper echelons of the FBI's leadership that are politicized, not your average FBI agent, because I think the majority of them, I'm sure there's some bad eggs, but I think the majority of them are in the job because they want to make a difference, but it's about what you're being told to do. It's kind of like with the cops right now. that don't want to be, arresting people for breaking the lockdown and going to work and being where they shouldn't be. But they're doing it because they've been ordered to do it. And so I think that while the same leadership exists in the FBI and the DOJ and the judges that are so liberalized, like the one that dealt with you, like the one that dealt with the lady in Texas, the hairdresser, things are never going to change. And I think that draining the swamp actually requires for some of these people to have their jobs taken away. And it's not about me politicizing. It's about if they don't do their job properly, what we end up with is lives destroyed like yours. I mean, thank God that you're kind of finally being able to rebuild your life. But it cost you a lot, didn't it, Kris, in terms of financially, being away from your daughter for a year, being away from Sadie for a year, et cetera, et cetera. There was a huge cost to what they did to you.
Absolutely. And then just like with General Flynn's case, that simply exonerating you after the fact doesn't wash away everything that they've done to you in the process.
No. Because
I'm grateful that they finally given him this exoneration. But like I said, you think about all the years of torment that they put him through, and they just walk away from it unscathed. Whereas this he's got to live the rest of his life like this.
Right. Exactly.
How do you justify that? As a government, they're supposed to work for us, not the other way around. We're not slaves to them. So how are they serving the interests of the public by doing things like that versus stopping massacres that they have actual intelligence to go after? That's what we're paying them for, and they're not doing it. People are dying, and they're focusing on prosecuting guys like Julian Assange and Roger Stone, people that being a social activist and taking a stand against something you think is wrong, or going out there and putting out something malfeasance of the government, that they might not agree with that, but is that worth them using the full weight? You got to ask at some point if all this money that they wasted on the Russia hoax and on going after General Flynn, is that a misappropriation of government funds? Because that's taxpayer money that they wasted millions of dollars. And so how do they walk away from that unscathed? I
would agree with you totally, and this is why I've been I've beaten up Bill Barr for a long time, saying get off your ass and do something. And whoa, finally he is. I think it was 200 writs were issued recently. Maybe it wasn't writs, it was something else. But finally he's getting off his fat behind and he's actually doing something. Because what's the point of having him in that job if he's not weeding out these people? And I think that once he starts to pull out a few cards, like Peter Strzok and his girlfriend and all of these people should not be working for the government anymore. They should not be receiving any pensions or anything like that because they politicize their roles. And when you start pulling out these bricks, you'll find that the ones at the top, like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, because you can't tell me they didn't know what was going on, you'll find that their heads are going to roll as well. And Comey is next in line. And the thing is that what we don't see in America is we see the little guy, like yourself, we see justice being exacted against you for nothing. But those that really do things wrong, like Comey and Obama and even Adam Schiff, they were all a part of these things, the Russiagate and stuff, but no action is being taken against them. So we don't see any justice in America, only against the little guy. And I mean that in the most respectful way. Because at the end of the day, we need to see these people punished. There needs to be a punitive response for the things that they've done, because if not, how is anybody ever turned off from doing those things? There's no deterrent.
Well, and I would make the argument that what, honestly, from anybody's perspective, ask yourself this question. If you were an agency tasked with stopping criminals, and focusing, you only have limited resources, and you can focus those resources on a certain type of individual, would you choose to focus those resources on an individual like, Roger Stone that talked to WikiLeaks and then, either couldn't remember it or lied about it, or somebody like me that took some pictures, or somebody at the uppermost levels of the Department of Justice and the FBI, an agency tasked with investigating criminal wrongdoing, and they're weaponizing their role against their political enemies. Who's doing more damage to this country and to freedom? Is it somebody like me who took some pictures to remember? Is it somebody like Roger Stone? Is it somebody like General Flynn who can't remember a conversation that he had as a person coming into an office where he would have those conversations every day? Does that really matter? Is the Logan Act an act that's never been prosecuted worth going after that guy for? Or should you have been focusing those limited resources on true criminals, people going out there and killing other people, people running drugs, people doing bad things? Well, so when those resources don't get put there, and you caught somebody red-handed like Andrew McCabe and James Comey lying about it and picking and choosing who they want to criminally prosecute, which is not their job, and then wasting those resources doing that because they felt it was important, that person right there is doing far more damage than any one of us other people that they've gone after did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we have to leave it there, Kris, but thank you for coming on and giving us your opinion. I know your website, Help Kris Saucier, is still live, and I believe the funding stream is still live as well. So anybody out there that wants to help Kris financially, you can go to freekrissaucier.com. The link is on the Xander Gibb Show page for today. You can help financially, whatever that might be, a couple of dollars, $100, $1,000, $10,000, all is gratefully received. Please give my best to Sadie and to Cassie, Kris, and I hope you'll come and join us again soon to talk about some more hot topics.
Well, thanks so much for having me on, Xander, and thanks to you, and stay safe and healthy.
Absolutely, Kris. Thanks a lot. Take care. Now, as Kris Saucier, Navy vet, make sure you go to helpkrissaucier.weebly.com. The address is on the Xander Gibb Show page for today. I just want to do my soapbox, because there's so much to say that I didn't get the chance to say because of all the crap that happened earlier. We already talked about General Flynn. It's VE Day today, 75 years since the D-Day landings, and here we are being challenged again. This is not what they fought for. This is not what they died for us to be lied to and manipulated again. But thank you for your service. And today, when we remember those who died, remember they died for your freedoms and the ones that are being messed with and eroded right now. So for those of you asking, the UK is still shut down based upon death statistics and new infections, even though every death that has been recorded is COVID, even when it wasn't, the country is left in shutdown based upon faulty data, both here in the United Kingdom and in the United States. So let that sink in. Those of you that live in New York City, I know that there are rallies planned to highlight this matter, and I suggest that people do it in every city and every town in the US and in the UK, because our rights are being trampled on. We are being coerced to stay at home when I don't really think that there is a need to. Meet your new speech police. As we alluded earlier, Facebook now has an oversight board empowered to take down posts. Gotta be nonpartisan, people, you would hope. No, because one of the people is Pamela Karlan, who testified to impeach President Trump, and the Obama DOJ and NYT they call her a full-throated, unapologetic liberal torchbearer. So yeah, that's exactly the kind of people we want interfering with our posts on Facebook. But you're not going to win, Zuck. You are not going to win. Texas Supreme Court allowed salon owner Shelley Luther to be freed, but should she have been there in the first place? The governor banned jailing citizens for lockdown violations. They raised $400,000 on the funding page for her. Now, the judge who cited Shelley Luther and the judge who sentenced her in Dallas were both Democrat controlled and very liberal, Calciprees. Both houses of the Michigan legislature, let's try saying that when you've had a drink, filed lawsuits against Governor Hitler, that's Governor Whitmer even, of Michigan, about time. Come on, New Yorkers, time to sue Mayor Bill de Blasio, who had a birthday this week. So happy birthday, Wilhelm. Maybe you can use this time during the lockdown to get your bloody wife to find the taxpayer funds that were lost, misappropriated, or whatever. So we got time to take a couple of calls. If you are in the United States, you can call us on 845-363-4747. That's 845-363-4747. If you are in the UK, you can call us on 028-133-5247. That's 0208-133-5274. I beg your pardon. So USA, 845-363-4747. It's all along the top of the screen. Here, there. There you go. 845-363-4747 if you're in the United States. And if you are in the United Kingdom, you can call me on 0208-133-5274. We will wait a little bit and see if we get a call. Chet, feel free to give us a call. Chet says not to cough on him. Okay. I am COVID-free, for now. Because the next thing is they'll be giving it to all us conservatives, so we can't broadcast. We have a call, and it's Chet calling, but it's not ringing. Hello, Mr. Chet. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Am I on the air?
You are live, so feel free to call Zuck and his wife every name you want to call them.
Yeah, I was asking if I was on the air just to kind of be nasty towards Facebook.
Yeah,
because,
for sure.
You know, one thing I've noticed, Xander, with your show and with others, is they're making it really hard to share. I got kicked out of your feed twice tonight,
right.
And I don't know why. It just happened. And it was easy enough to come back and get on. In order to share to groups, I'm able to actually sharing to the groups isn't tough, but what's tough is sharing it to the page, like the Freedom on Deck page.
Right.
I have to copy and paste, and then I have to go to the page and actually share it. And I think they're doing all this stuff for the same reason. That's to make it difficult for us and make the message harder to get out.
I think the way forward in the future is to broadcast it somewhere else and do a chat on my website, because then people can come to the website to join in, and then just put it on Facebook after, because then they've got no choice in it. But I don't honestly know what I'm saying that is so bad or so, anti, that they don't want me to broadcast it, because I'm just a conservative patriot with a heart for America that's trying to make a difference.
It just shows you how threatened they are by patriots. And that's exactly what they were trying to do to you back in 2016 when you were on the air trying to get Trump put into the White House.
Right.
And now they're doing it again as we try to re-elect Donald Trump. But you've said it many times before. I've said it when I come on with you. The White House and the Trump administration has to do something about this.
Yeah, they do.
It's not getting better. It's getting worse. You were talking about this Supreme Court, as they call it, which is just ridiculous anyway, but Facebook and Zuckerberg getting these people together, and they say it's to control content. And the woman that you just mentioned, I can't think of her name, Pamela, I think is the first name.
Yeah.
She's as biased as you can get,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Pam Carlin.
Yes, Pam Carlin. That's it. Thank you. And these people are very biased. They don't like conservatives. They've said it themselves. And the crazy thing about all this, Xander, is while Zuckerberg's admitting to what he's doing right now, he hasn't even tried to hide it.
No.
Now they're saying what they're doing.
No.
And they're getting away with it.
But surely the way to hit them, like with anybody, is financially. And they're claiming to be one thing to get tax breaks, but they're actually another. They're claiming that I can never get this right. I think they're claiming that they're a media, they're claiming they're a publisher, but they're not. They're something else. So the tax breaks they're claiming as a publisher should be stripped from them because they can't be both.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I've tried to look into how Facebook gets around paying their taxes, and I think Google does the same, and I actually think Dorsey with Twitter gets the same break. And maybe we need to figure out how, well, like I said, I don't know why the Trump administration isn't moving forward with something. I don't know.
Right.
Because at this point, I'm frustrated. It's been over 4 years that people like you and me and others have put on different programs in order to champion Trump and champion the administration and champion America first. And then we kind of just see this happening on social media very haphazardly.
Right.
And nothing's being done about it.
I think the concern is
something.
We do. And I think the concern is how this is going to affect, we've discussed this so many times, how it's going to affect the social media element of the Trump train. And frankly, I want Donald Trump to do more. My First Amendment right should not end at the keyboard. And if this is a commentary site, why can't I make comments? Because the reason that they've banned me for broadcasting from my main page for 90 days is because I shared this cartoon of Hitler saying, report your neighbors, it is the Reich thing to do, as in the Third Reich. There was no swastika runner or anything, but they've still banned me for 90 days. And I'm tired of this. I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. Excuse my French. I am not walking away from this because I have a job to do. I'm not coming back to do 5 days a week for my health. I'm coming back to do 5 days a week as a radio talk show host to help get Donald Trump elected again. And so I am not going to be perturbed by this kind of stuff, but I am tired. When are we all going to come? Because, I'm tired of people pissing and moaning and saying, Xander, they took away my page. Well, where the hell were you when they took away my page or Chet's page or other people's pages? We need to come together and do something,
right.
Because if all of the conservatives came off Facebook, it would be empty. All they would have is the Democrats.
You're damn right. That's exactly what happens. But people want their message to get out with Facebook, and I get it because there's just everyone's on Facebook. It's the most trafficked site that you can get on with social media.
Yeah.
And the problem with all that, I've said it time and time again, is that the liberals have cornered the market. That's why they've gotten into Zuckerberg's bottom line and reaching into the pockets of Zuckerberg and Dorsey and the rest of them. But these people are controlling the message. It's exactly what the Nazis did, first of all. And second of all, I keep seeing the fact that I don't want to go too hard on the president, but his son-in-law is always meeting up with Dorsey and the rest of them.
Yeah.
And that has to stop.
Well, I'm sorry. I will go so far as to say, Chet, I don't think that whatever the hell his name is, I don't think he's good for the administration. I don't think he's a
son-in-law.
Yeah, he's a liberal.
Kushner,
Jared Kushner. I don't think he's good at all for the administration, and I think he needs to be gone. Because I support Donald Trump 200%, but come on, Mr. President, pull your finger out, stop this. You did a thing last year, and you asked people to write and tell you about when their rights had been violated on Twitter, but then on Facebook and all these other places, but then you did nothing about it. Respectfully, sir, you need to do something, or this is going to come and bite you in the butt for November. Because if we can't get out there to share the message, it depletes the number of people that are going to be persuaded to vote for you. So there is a complete choice there for you, Mr. President. And I have to just, I just have to add an addendum there. I support Donald Trump 200%, but this is something I think he needs to do.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think more people need to start, I don't know about worrying, but they need to really assert themselves a little more into the discussion on why on social media platforms conservatives are greatly just shadow banned, taken down. All that stuff hurts us and it hurts him, and that's why I wonder why there's not more of a push by the administration. And I'm not just saying President Trump, Xander.
No.
I'm talking about in general, conservatives in general don't get behind one each other. It's one of the strangest things that I've ever seen in my life. It really is.
Yeah. Zuckerberg has, what Zuckerberg is doing on Facebook has been likened to the Nazis before. They are impeding people's free speech when they do not disagree, and that is the crux of Nazism, surely. We'll talk about this more privately, but I think we need to step something up now. We need to do something, because we cannot keep having this done to us. And, it won't make such a difference for me after June, because I'll broadcast from my website. But what it means is, those of you who watch the show, it means you can't watch it from Facebook until you can't watch it live on Facebook, because I am not going to be interfered with by Zuckerberg. That doesn't sound very appropriate, but I'm sure you get what I mean.
Yeah, but Xander, that's the problem, because people love convenience. The most convenient thing for any of the listeners to your show or my show, is to go on Facebook and click on the video and listen. Yeah. That's the easiest thing they can do. Yeah. When we start to have to direct them, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but direct them to XanderGibb.com or FreedomOnTech.com or, YourMom'sBasement.com, whatever the case may be. Yeah. That requires, it's sad to say it, but it's too much for them. So they just want the easy access of going on Facebook. They know that it's Friday night. They know you're coming on at 6, and being able to click on it. I had people messaging me, and they're like, "Where's the show?" And I had to tell them, he's putting it through one of the accounts, and then I would tell them where it was. But I started off the night not knowing where you were. Yeah. I had a few messages from people saying where you are, but I couldn't. Where are you? But obviously, I couldn't just stop and reply to everybody. I just wanted, because there was a point where I thought, forget it. I'll just go and have a few whiskeys and forget about it. But I thought, no, you assholes are not winning again. So I persevered, and I will be doing some shows next week. So I'll be testing it kind of well in advance, because I can't have this happen every week. It's not acceptable. No, it wears that. It wears at you. I know it does, because when they've either taken my account down, or they ban me, or they just silence me or shadow ban the page. Period. It gets frustrating, because what me and you do, and anybody out there that does something like our shows, we do it. We're not getting paid big bucks or anything. No. For the most part, we buy our equipment. We buy the time. These are not things that we do because we're rolling in the dough right now. No. We're doing it because of our love of country and a love of the president and a love of our freedoms. You see the way they're chipping away at our freedoms every day because of the virus. Well, if they're going to start to chip away on social media and start to take away the message of the conservative and the Trump supporter, you know what? You deserve to get what you get, and people need to start banding together and coming together. I've never had that from anyone else but you, and no. It's sad to say it. It really is. And I wish some of these folks out there that think that they're all high and mighty and they're doing great now, be very careful. And it's something that Xander told me. On your way up, you might meet the same people you thumbed your nose at on the way down. Absolutely. So be very careful. Got to look after people on the way up, because you're going to need them on the way back down. Tell us, my whiskey is calling me, but I want to find out who you've got on the show this weekend. I hear you.
Who have you got on the show? I know you've got some megastar from the UK on.
We've got Xander Gibb, so he's going to be with us.
Oh,
tomorrow.
He's terrible. Cancel him.
We have this gentleman by the name of Matt Wiley. He's from the Freedom Project. We're starting to get him on every month, and he's been doing a really good job at like exposing the liberals and their agenda in Connecticut and New York, and he's been following up with the story that has to do with Senator Chris Murphy meeting with Iranian leadership while President Trump's in office. So, these senators in Connecticut would rather align themselves with Iran than with Iran than us.
How is that even acceptable? Sorry to interrupt you, Chad, but how is that even acceptable?
No, it's not acceptable. What happened was I don't know, he was, I think, in Europe, and when some of these, I don't know if the heads of state or whatever were meeting, somehow he got aligned up with the mullahs of Iran and had a meeting with them.
Wow.
It was like a year ago.
Wow.
It's sick. It really is. So, and then we're going to have Cindy Gross on, who's running for the 4th Congressional District in New York.
Right.
And it's going to be a good show, and hopefully, I'm sure that me and you are going to be talking about this. Actually, I plan on that.
Yes,
so
for sure.
We'll get into it again, Xander.
For sure. And I am angry, Chet, but I actually think that we need, we've talked about this, to have an all-out day for conservatives. But part of the problem, this is one of the things I kind of envy about the Democrats, and there are not many things that I do, is they know how to stick together, and I think they could teach conservatives a trick or two with regards to that. Because where is the support for, you and I support each other, it's public knowledge, and we have from day one, but where are the rest of these supposed conservatives when we need them to share the show, to come on the show, etc.?
And not to label myself as a Republican, but they say Big Tent party. It's all right to be Big Tent and have different ideas, but when push comes to shove, we have to have each other's backs.
We do. We absolutely do. And that's a perfect place to leave it. Thank you so much. Make sure you check out Freedom on Deck on Sunday, 3 till 5 Eastern. freedomondeck.com with my good friend Chet Martin, and I will be there on Sunday also, so you better be there or there will be trouble. But for now, have a great weekend, Chet. Thank you so much. I will catch up with you very soon, my friend.
Thanks, Ed. Xander and Chet Martin, Sunday afternoon, 3 to 5, 94.9 News Now and Stimulating Talk, freedomondeck.com. Take care, Xander.
Thanks a lot, Chet. Take care.
Brother.
That was my good friend, Chet Martin. Make sure you check him out. We are at the end of the show. Please click the share button. I am going to go and investigate what is going on with Restream, etc. But I will be back with you next time, come hell or high water. And if you see Zuck, tell him from me, screw your brother. I love you all. Goodbye. It has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no ribs. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and era don't dictate. Click the bell button and subscribe to keep up with the Xander Gibb Show. Oh yes, sirree.